Hello and welcome back to Execution Delusion. Today we are once again reporting on the murders of Wilmington High School.
Yes, we have a lot of new information today. So yesterday we were talking about how Miss Antos was sadly killed, strangled to death in the parking lot.
Yep.
We now have more information that could further the investigation.
It's not another murder though.
It's not another murder. Thankfully, we don't have any more murders yet. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. But there was apparently the perpetrators, the murderers, they messed up on deleting camera footage or taking off the camera footage because there was footage of possibly a woman. It was dark. It's not the best quality footage, but a woman was seen around the time of her murder. So it's a little bit of evidence, a little bit to point us in the right direction of who we could be looking for. Again, we think it's more than one person, but we don't know for sure.
So there was a piece of evidence found.
Another evidence. Once
they
again,
investigated further, so they did find another long blonde hair.
Yes.
So that's at both scenes. So it could be a possible lead, maybe a student, staff member that has blonde hair.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be a coincidence that there was a long blonde hair found at Snyder's. Mr. Snyder, or Joseph Snyder, is that his name? His crime scene was found blonde hair.
And
Angela Antos, blonde hair. I don't think that's a coincidence. Another big thing to point us in the right direction, Miss Antos, she actually had her phone on her when she was murdered, and they didn't take anything. So it clearly wasn't robbery. It clearly didn't want anything. And the police investigated further into her phone and found that right before she was murdered, she was texting an unknown number. It was a blocked number. You can't trace it. Saying she promises not to tell, and that was it. So that's a little fishy.
She might have had something to do with the murders, and then, after the interviews, just knock her off.
Yeah. So there's a lot of information that we have, and it's just a matter of piecing it together. I was really curious into seeing what students are thinking about this. So we actually have one here with us today.
It was quite the travel, but
yes,
phone wasn't working very well. Very poor signal. So we did fly her out here. Quite the trip. How are you enjoying New York so far?
It's pretty good, the lights, the billboards.
We forgot to introduce her. Would you like your name on the podcast?
Introduce yourself if you'd like to, unless you want to stay anonymous.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Emily Watson.
Yeah.
This is Emily Watson
Emily
from
Watson.
Wilmington High School in Illinois. So Emily, how do you feel about the murders that are going on in your school?
It's scary. I don't know who did them. And I hope that they get found.
Do you have any suspicions on who it could be?
You said long blonde hair?
Yeah, that was something that was found at both crime scenes.
Well, my suspicions are Mrs. Mata, but I don't know.
Who is Mrs. Mata?
Yes,
She's a Spanish teacher at WHS.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe something with that could be a possible direction.
You heard it here, folks. Students believe it's a Spanish teacher.
Yes. Can we take you on that word? Does a lot of people think that? Or how does the collective school body think about this?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I haven't talked to the rest of the school because I don't talk to the rest of the school. But my suspicions are it is Mrs. Mata, and I believe that she paired up with somebody. I don't know who yet, but I think it was a two-man job.
Okay. That's what we're thinking too. We don't think it was one person. So Doesn't
many
seem like
things
we're
going
alone.
on
Yeah.
at once for it to be one person.
They're too efficient of crimes to happen from just one person. Well. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Any last words for the podcast for our audience? Most likely, most of your fellow students, probably going to be listening to this.
Rest in peace, Snyder and Antos. I hope we find your killers. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
That was Miss Emily Watson.
Emily Watson from Wilmington High School.
Yes.
And that will be the end of our podcast today.
So this
Thank
is
you so much for listening.
Day 3. That ends day 3.
Yeah.
I wonder how many days this will last. I guess we'll find out.
All right. Thank you for listening to Execution Delusion, and later, losers.